Hello and welcome, everybody. We're glad you're able to join us tonight. My name is Greg Huss. I'm the Director of Admission and Financial Aid here at Carthage, and we're really excited that everybody in attendance is able to be here tonight and learn more about photography, film, and new media at Carthage and the wonderful opportunities and experiences that are available. We've got a great program lined up for you tonight. We've got 5 professors that will be presenting about the different experiences at Carthage, and you'll have the opportunity to ask questions throughout that time as well. As we're going through the presentations, feel free to use the question and answer line, which usually is at the bottom of your computer or up at the top. If you put your cursor up or down, you should see a Q&A box or a chat box. Please feel free to type questions in there throughout the presentations. And at the very end, we'll all come back in and we'll be able to answer those questions. So we wish we could be on campus on this beautiful evening. Obviously, that's not possible, but we hope that you and your families are all in good health out there. And when it's possible and safe to come back on campus, and that'll be very soon, we'll have an opportunity to give tours and show you around the campus, because the pictures just don't do it justice. It's a beautiful place to be. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce a couple of our professors here. If they would like, they can turn their cameras on and you'll be able to see them here in just a moment. But we've got Professor Van Winkle, we've got Professor Bronson, Professor Kowalowicz, Professor Pilarski, and Professor Haracha, and you'll get to see them all present throughout the evening. So first, I'd like to introduce Professor Van Winkle to start things out.
Hi, so glad you could join us this evening. I'm an artist, I'm a cinematographer. Before I was at Carthage, I worked on documentary films, also doing artist residencies internationally and nationally. Working with one of the residencies was making films with youth on an island in Greece. And right now, I'm teaching a variety of courses based in new media, like with sound and video art, and also doing courses related to foundations and experimenting in a variety of medium, or students get to experiment in a variety of mediums. Tonight, I want to introduce you to our new programs, and that's why you're here, to learn more about our new minors that we have to offer. So I'm going to share my screen right now. Carthage is now offering a program where you can pursue your minors in photography, film, and new media. And this has grown out of an interest that students had in the last few years, wanting to delve more into these fields. Our minors are a combination of several departments working together: the art department, communications and digital media department, as well as the computer science department. In these minors, you'll have the ability to focus on a variety of types of media. You can work in traditional medias with darkroom photography. You can be exploring the new and growing medias of digital photography, as well as looking at the variety of film media that you can work in: narrative, documentary, experimental, and continuing onward with other types of moving image and still image work. What you're seeing here are some students out and about on campus a few falls ago, as well as a recent image taken by a student in Milwaukee doing low lighting photography. Our photography minor allows you to make choices. We're really interested in that, and you being able to cultivate your interests and tweak these minors in ways that let you grow, let you explore, and let you make work that's your vision. And in photography, one of the requirements that everyone would take with a photography minor is the history of photography. And then you can delve deeper into a wide variety of hands-on courses. Here you're seeing some digital imagery created by students, both working with, I'm sorry, created this both this fall and before. We have a darkroom facility at Carthage, and this is really wonderful. A lot of institutions don't offer that, and this allows you to explore the medium And you can see in the lower corner, that's a cyanotype. We'll be offering alternative processes as well as working with gelatin photography as well. Here's some more behind the scenes. Our film and new media curriculum allows you to delve deeper into another variety of mediums. You can explore film, both film production and screenwriting. You can delve your interests into new media. I'm sorry, I keep saying delve this evening. I think I'm a little tired. um, so you can explore new media, and we'll learn a little bit more about those offerings soon. And you can also do a minor that's a combination of both film and new media. Here we see students from a recent sound art class. Our film and new media program has 4 requirements that everybody will take. We have a 2D design course that you would be doing, looking at also what we're calling 4D. It's a foundations course that has rotating topics in it as well. So it could be video art one semester, or you could look at light or performance. We have new media theory and aesthetics, and then a film and new media production. There's additional courses that you'll be able to choose from depending on which direction you'd like to explore, whether you want to do something that's documentary, whether you want to do something that's narrative based. Why would you want to take these kinds of courses at a liberal arts college? Well, being at a liberal arts college will allow you to take other subject matters that you've been exploring and bring those into your artwork, whether it's into the photographs you make or the films you do. Maybe it's some VR work that you're working on. Because we have a general education requirement for our students, you could be exploring the sciences, and you could bring your interests in science into your art making. You could work with your interest in languages, religion, philosophy. All of these areas allow you to have deep content, meaningful content, make things that have messages you want to communicate to the world. On campus and off of campus, you'll have opportunities to exhibit your work. We have a student art gallery in the student union. We also have an art gallery on campus that has an annual student art exhibition. There are several clubs here that you can get involved with, including Draft, which is more of a graphic design based club, also art clubs. We have an arts fraternity. And so these opportunities allow you to connect with others who are really interested in the arts. There's also screenings that are offered on campus. Some of them are general films, others are student screenings. Our classes, many of our classes visit local areas like Chicago and Milwaukee. Here you see images in the lower left corner. That was a show that was at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago. It had a VR, it was all focused on digital media, and students could experience VR. And you can see in the lower right-hand corner, those are students at the Milwaukee Art Museum. Recently, I went with my students in February to the Museum of Contemporary Art or Contemporary Photography in Chicago, and we were able to view selections from the collection on documentary work. And you can see the students, we had a private viewing with one of the assistant curators who shared the selections with us. Getting out and about is something that can enhance your work, enhance what you decide to focus on, seeing what other artists have done. But being out and about has not been what we've been able to do for the last couple months. And so you may be asking yourself, well, what are students doing in this remote learning time? This semester, I was working with a student for the second time on an independent study in sports photography. In the fall, she had focused on documenting sports on campus. During this remote learning, she worked with a portable lighting kit and started documenting athletes that were her friends that she could work with at a safe distance. And these are some of the photos she made during our remote learning time. I was also teaching a color photography class. These are some motion images that students created. A few more from this time as well. One of the projects, and maybe you've done something like this before, or maybe not, or you may have seen it on social media, was to reenact famous artworks. And so that was an activity that we did in our remote learning time. And here's some more photographs. Some of these are digital, some of these are black and white prints. Behind the scenes for making these minors available to you are other professors who are not with us this evening. Kim Green, who's the chair of the art department, Mark Mahoney, who's an associate professor in the computer science department. And we'll be learning more about other courses that you can take in conjunction with these minors. We do have special scholarships available for both of these minors if you're interested in. You can apply for them. We do the portfolio reviews in February. This is the email that you can use, thefinearts@carthage.edu. You're welcome also to reach out to me if you'd like to ask more questions at any time after this webinar. So with that, without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Van Winkle. Next, I'd like to introduce Professor Brownson to share some more information.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome. Pleasure to have you join us. I'm sorry we can't meet in person. I'm the Department Chair of Communication and Digital Media. It is my pleasure to talk just a little bit about these minors. Thank you, Professor Van Winkle, for the great details. This has been a labor of love, bringing these forward. And what I wanted to stress to you was that these minors were developed out of past student experiences and interest. And so we had quite a few students completing self-designed minors in photography, and quite a few more recently in film and new media. So we decided to make it official. So we're really excited to have this opportunity to work collaboratively with our colleagues across campus, especially in art and in computer science. So I think that this provides a really unique opportunity for students to find their voice and find new ways of telling their own stories. That's what we're all about here. So why not jump into the fun of it, right? The tech part. So that's all that I wanted to add. So I'll throw it over to the next.
Hi, that's me, Professor Hiracha. So I think my friend Maddie is in the attendees over there, who's already heard me talk twice. And I think Harry may have heard me talk in communication digital media, but Nicole, I think you're new. So I'll try to be exciting for enough to draw in you, Nicole. But I really wanted to be outside and show you my beautiful yard, because I've been taking pictures of birds all day. Because I turned in final grades and then there were birds everywhere. So I've been taking a lot of bird pictures. So I'm excited to talk about photography. I teach graphic design and photography classes here at Carthage. I want to show you some student work. So Maddie, I sent you, if you're the same Maddie, who I think you are, I sent you this student's information to write Janelle Miner. So Janelle, I think, was one of Professor Van Winkle's photography that she was showing with the night photography in Milwaukee. And I wanted to show Janelle's some of her photographs in her portfolio, especially because just to show how it mixes well with graphic design. I think it mixes well because then you take your final projects in graphic design and you add your photography to it. And that's what Janelle did, especially with her internship for the Kenosha Visitors Bureau. So Janelle has been the intern for them for like they don't want to get rid of her. They're like, we just love Janelle. So she gets to take pictures of all this lovely food, and they usually give it to her, I think, afterwards. And all these events that she gets to take pictures as part of her internship. So she's really enjoyed that. And she wants to continue and keep working with her photography to kind of do it full time. We have several graduates that I know of that are graphic designers that worked full-time as a photographer, really starting their own business or working with other photographers. I have a lot of their information if anybody would like to talk to them. They're doing really well. So looking at their work and looking what they're capable of, it just is, it's amazing, like how far they've gone with their work. And starting off, you know, in basic digital photography, thinking about showing you some of that. Well, John Hennessy, he's about to graduate too, as a graphic designer, photography minor. So showing him some of his work from when he took basic digital photography with me. John was pretty exceptional though in what he was doing and what he was taking pictures of. So he was very experimental with his forms and his creations, and he was doing senior projects. He was taking pictures of seniors in his town and making so much money off it during basic digital that I was like, John, do I get a cut of that? You know, it was pretty impressive how many clients he had, and what he was doing, because he was doing these really great natural environmental pictures of seniors when they were graduating. So in basic digital photography, I get to take students to the Milwaukee Zoo, which was always exciting. Oh, I just read this lion passed away. So that made me sad, because I've taken students to the zoo for 10 years now to take pictures of this lion, and he's amazing, but it was just old age. You know, it wasn't anything that he was his time to go, unfortunately. But the Milwaukee Zoo is always a great photography field trip. I also take them to Chicago, and we do an architectural photography tour, which I love doing that. It's always amazing to go to Chicago. Here's a couple of the senior pictures, like I was saying, that John was taking of these environmental, you know, pretty cool looking pictures for seniors in high school. So he, you know, was really monopolizing what he enjoyed, which was taking pictures of people in rural areas. So when we're small enough that we find out what people enjoy, you know, what people like to take pictures of, and that's what I enjoy, is like finding out what makes people happy, what they want to do. Like when I got done with final grading, I took my macro lens outside and took pictures of flowers, you know what I mean? And I got ice cream, to be honest, but still those two things make me very happy. So when you find something like that, that's always nice. And I wanted to mention too, I take students as well to Costa Rica, and I've taken them to Tucson, Arizona to take pictures. So here's a couple examples of some student work from there, from past J-term trips. And we hope to do that in 2022. We hope to take students to Costa Rica again, because if I get to go to Costa Rica, like, please take me. And last time we went, we got to see whales. So that was exciting. And it's just an amazing experience to just photograph all day long. Like, you photograph for so long, your finger gets tired. You know, you're like, I need a splint or something to make it take pictures. But it's just an amazing experience, because everyone gets the best pictures and they're so excited about it. And that's what I love, is I feel like photography is the gift you give people. And I like to encourage my students to think about how you can use photography to help others, and what you can do to give photography as a gift. And usually in basic digital photography too, by the way, I forgot to mention, and photographing nature, we end up with a book. And when you have your book, in basic digital photography, everybody usually gives it to their parents as like a Christmas gift. But for basic digital photography or photographing nature, we put the best, all the students put like one of their best pictures together. So this is when we went to Tucson, Arizona. So we have a book of all of our best photographs, and we will always have this. You know, I think this is like an amazing gift. Like, I gave it to my parents, you know, so they know what I do, and, you know, they're proud of me. I still want my parents to be proud of me, right? So using photography in that way, I think it's really exciting. And I'm so glad Professor Van Winkle organized this and has done so much work, because students have been asking for it. So we look forward to that. So I think now I'm passing it on, and I'm not remembering if I pass it on to Perry or Nick, but.
We're going to go to Professor Pilarski next.
Hi, I'm Professor Pilarski. I teach classes in documentary, film and new media theory, film and new media production, screenwriting, and we do everything from audio to podcasting to AR and VR. So to you who are kind of probably sitting, making the calculation of where you're going to go to college and what you want to do with your life, there is something that is completely that will be part of your reality. And that thing is image making. In some ways, shape, or form, the way that we communicate is changing rapidly. The largest economy in the world right now is the internet. That's pretty self-evident. But what's incredibly interesting to that is that 80% by 2021 of the internet will be images or moving images in some way, shape, or form. So we can say that 80% of the economy is going to be this. So it doesn't matter whether you're in biology, politics, social sciences, social work, history, everything you're going to do is going to have to do in some way, shape, or form with how you communicate in this way and how you take other ways of communication and add it to the visual form. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make sure that you are prepared for the future. So when you say new media, what does that mean? I really don't know. It's a buzzword. It's something that's used actually quite normally, and people don't really. I'm a professor of this, and sometimes I ask myself the question, what is new media? I don't know. And many people who are a lot smarter than me do not know. New media is anything that is used to change the ways that we communicate. And as we put together this program, we thought twofold. First, we thought, how do we make sure that you are creating work that resonates with you in the traditional forms? And how do we make sure that you make work that resonates into the future? Whether that be future economies, whether that be future work, future interests, or just to make art for art's sake. And that's our goal. And so we've developed all our curriculum in this. When we thought, all of us, to sit down to think what type of minor would we like to create, we'd like to create one that we want to take those classes. And that's what we attempted to do. And we do it in two ways. One, we do it in practice. We make sure that your hands are dirty. We make sure that you're really, getting into it, that you're really, you find the flaws with your own work. You learn on the job. And then the other way that we do it is we make sure that that's informed by theory. We make sure that that's informed by an understanding of the work that's going to put you a leg up on other people. Because not only are you going to be able to make the work, you're going to be able to talk about it, and you're going to be able to talk about it in ways to sell it to people and to sell what's inside of you. And that's our main goal. So that's what we did when we tried to put together this program, and we're really excited about it. It's new. And everyone who, I can just say from a faculty perspective, everyone who I'm working with is really passionate about what they do, and excited about the classes that we offer. If you have any questions that are specific, love to use the newness of new media and have you ask in real time instead of me giving a speech, because I think that that's probably a little more apt. But with all that said, I'm going to turn it over to Perry, who is really thinking about kind of the newness of new media, thinking about how coding and design and this other aspect is adding to the equation.
Thank you, Nick. I'm Professor Perry Kowalowicz, and I am a computer scientist. So you might wonder, what the heck is this guy doing here? But I'm here for a number of reasons. And first of all, I want to share with you my bananas passion for photography. Professor Haracha mentioned that it's a gift that you can give others. My dad purchased this camera, this very camera, in order to take baby pictures of me. And it was the first camera that I held and that I learned photography on. And it's been a passion of mine for more than 50 years. I've also been, interestingly, in a leadership position in each of the imaging revolutions that we've experienced. For example, companies that I've had were leaders in desktop publishing, then multimedia, then desktop video, and finally desktop film. And I'll show you a little video about that when I conclude. The Department of Computer Science is very happy, delighted to participate in this minor, in these minors. And our contribution currently, we hope to increase, are 2 electives. The first is a sort of a programming 101 for people who want to dig deep in their future. It's really a course that prepares you to take the next course. But we have another course, which is a very gentle introduction to programming in a very accessible language called Python. And persons in taking these minors are able to choose that course or the first one as one of their electives. I can't tell you how much these fields mean to me. And as I mentioned in my closing, I'd like to share a short video with you. And if I can manage that, let me do that. And that would be here. And I'm hoping that this is visible. Yes, anybody give me a thumbs up? Good.
Invented over 100 years ago, rotoscoping is a frame-by-frame animation tracing technique to reproduce lifelike movement. Since then, the term has broadened beyond hand-drawn animation to visual effects. But at its heart, the principle is the same: to trace or cut out objects or characters for isolation and compositing. Roto is now the backbone of visual effects. Enter Silhouette, a fully featured GPU-accelerated compositing system with its standout features being rotoscoping in Paint, as well as a total of 142 different visual effects nodes, all enabled for stereo 3D. Our rotoscoping innovations include a system designed for speed and a small memory footprint, allowing thousands of shapes and keyframes without impact upon performance. Silhouette also features a unique hybrid paint system that provides the speed of raster with the repeatability of vector. It's purpose-built for visual effects, including the removal of wires and rigs, tracking markers, blemishes, dirt and scratches, as well as retouching. The work of roto and paint artists is not only time-consuming, but is applied across the majority of shots in a production. For close to 15 years, Silhouette has made a contributing impact to television post-production by making these laborious tasks easier. One roto shape and one paint stroke at a time.
Okay. So once again, I hope to see you here at Carthage, enjoying what these awesome colleagues of mine, these terrific talents, these terrific professors have to offer, and not only of their own talents, but also their mentorship and indeed friendship. Thanks.
Thank you very much, everybody. That was fantastic information. We're so excited about these new minors. Attendees, I'd like to ask anybody, are there any questions that you would like to ask? This is the time to do it. The chat line is open. The Q&A line is open as well. Haven't seen any come in yet, so maybe everybody was pretty thorough in their information, which was great. But I'll ask them while people are maybe thinking about their questions, just kind of a more general question about being a professor at Carthage. If you don't mind sharing, what's your favorite part about being a professor at Carthage?
The students.
Students.
Jinx! Oh my gosh! Okay, that was not planned, but like, yeah, the students, they're so freaking nice and creative, and seeing what they can do, their final projects during this time, like it just makes me really proud, and it makes me really happy to hopefully be with them again. And when they do things and take awesome pictures and do awesome designs and something way far beyond I've ever imagined, I love it when they give me goosebumps. That makes me really happy. So Perry, were you going to add with the students more?
The students, the collegiality, and a really inexpensive Starbucks.
Yeah.
Bonus. I would add to that. I think that it's the that it's the interaction with students. So when I was maybe your age, I went to a big university. And I would show up in my classes, and they were all film classes, and I'd work really hard, and I'd take the entire time and I'd make a project, and it'd feel like this like shining diamond, and then I'd turn it in, and that was it. And I had no hands-on one-on-one with my professors. Mm-hmm. And today I sat in front of my computer, and we're remote, so we're doing it via email. But I went back and forth all day with a student on revisions of his senior thesis film, really trying to think about, how he was going to wrap this up. And from a professor's perspective, that's just a really great experience, right? Because you're working with someone to make something. And I'm not making it, right? You would be making it. But the process of doing that is something that I think all professors here at Carthage care about. It's the process of working not to teach you, but it's working with you through a creative process. And I think that all of us, that's what we live for. So if I would say that there's something that is unique to Carthage, all of us care about deeply being on that journey with you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Go ahead.
I can add something as well. I think along that journey, what's also wonderful is that you can meet other like-minded and also different-minded individuals in your courses. And for instance, the photography that I was showing you by the student who's doing the sports photography, Deanne Jones, she's actually a graduating senior in nursing. She's been working for a couple semesters with a photographer doing internships, and he's a Getty photographer located in another place, but in the summers she works with him, and then she connects, and she's done official internships with him through Carthage's Aspire Center as well. And so making those kinds of connections. So in a classroom setting, in your art studios, in the darkroom, you could be working side by side and somebody that you might also have in your physics class, in your history class. And those kinds of connections can allow you to have, I think, a meaningful relationship. Also surprising, because people will make stuff that you never thought you would do, and that will push you. So I think that the connections you make with all of the other students in these smaller course sizes that we have at Carthage can really propel you both in ways that you make content, and also in ways for you to broaden your own perspectives on the world. I think my favorite day favorite days, I should say, of the semester are when we have critiques. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love to hear more. I have a relationship. The other students are seeing what each other are doing. But on that day, there's something spectacular about either seeing all the work on the wall or pulling it up on screens, and having that experience of finality. But then as artists, we all know things are never usually finished until we say they're finished, whenever that is. But that seeing the fruition of someone's idea, from whether it was a sketch or whether it was a quick snap, and then the way they worked on it, manipulated it later, that to me is so exciting. And that's kind of a heart of being an artist or a creator, is not only making something for yourself, but sharing it with other people, seeing how do people respond to your work? How do you respond to the way they respond to it?
And to add to what Professor Van Winkle just said, the part of critique before the final critique, when somebody says, hey, have you thought about doing this from this angle? Or have you thought about that? And the student goes, no, I hadn't thought about that. So when I see students helping students, that is amazing. And then in their final critique, they usually say, I never would have thought about that if it weren't for you guys. So there's it's not a competition thing in the classes. It's a lot of collaboration to help people get better. And that's really exciting.
And if I may add, to me, what strikes a chord for me and gets me really excited in my classes is when the students question everything and they question me and I challenge them. But what I love to see just bubble up organically is when they challenge each other. And what I think is one of the strongest points about Carthage, and certainly about these programs, I'm pointing to my monitor like you can see that, is this intersectionality of communities that I think we do really well. And so as they were all saying, to have some musician who brings their art to it and someone from computer science with their skill there and throw in some moving images. And it just, it's a sweet spot. And what we're hoping is to help students find that sweet spot. Again, just to bring together their community and their collaboration, their creativity.
That's wonderful. I like what you said about intersection of communities. A lot of times I hear students on campus refer to the Carthage community as kind of a family. So all those communities come together as one big family kind of, you know, for students at Carthage, which is really, really unique and special. We did have a question come in here. Somebody is asking with regard to the communication, the film and new media minor. How much larger do you expect the workload will be when going for that minor in conjunction with a major?
Shall I take that?
Sure.
Okay, since no one else was. Not anything additional in terms of the number of credits or courses required for graduation. So many students will take on a minor or even two majors in a minor. And if somebody doesn't choose a minor, then they sort of freeform have these wonderful electives from which to choose. So in terms of getting it done, it does take perhaps a little bit more planning, but that's where we come in as faculty and our other fabulous advisors across campus to make sure that we guide you on that path, and that you're taking what you need to be taking as soon as you are able, for example, if there's any prerequisites and those sorts of things. Does that answer the question?
I think it does. And you're right. I do see a fair number of students that either double major and minor or major and double minor and still graduate in 4 years. It's completely a possible thing and a reality to do here at Carthage. So thank you for that question and those answers. Any other questions that anybody has so far? I don't see any others coming in. But go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I also think that it's really important to think about film and new media in addition to another major. I mean, this is why it's a minor. So like I'm working right now with a neuroscience major. And to be frank, I know that that's not my field of study, but it's their field of study. And there's so much overlap because the questions that she's asking are really important. You know, how do I make art? How do I make renderings? How do I make representations of the ways that the brain works? And that's what she's thinking about. So it's going part and parcel with her major education. It's connecting deep into the tissues of that major. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to give her the language of sight and sound and technology to be able to bring those ideas out in a new form. So that's the really cool thing about minors, is that you can come from any discipline and you can move into a minor and it can just act as a little bit of specialization, a little bit of articulation. And for me, I think that that's always really great. For you, it's also even better because you're not just with majors. You're with people who think really, as Jojen said, who think very different from you. And the classroom is part of your learning, of course. But sometimes what's in between the classes is more important. And it's all of those students who you're going to be interacting with, who you're going to be changing or exchanging ideas with from different disciplines who are going to inspire you to do that next thing, or to think about the thing that you think that's really good and make it better. So I think that's the benefit of a minor, is that it kind of attaches to your main focus of study and it bolsters it.
And I feel like these two new minors really complement almost every major you can possibly think of. Professor Pilarski, you alluded to earlier that 80% of the internet is going to be images by the year 2021. So these two majors really, whether we know it or not, they touch our lives every day and almost every hour of every day, unless we're sleeping, of course.
I still see images when I sleep.
That's true. You could have a dream, right?
Yeah,
that is true.
If I could jump in, something to think about is that to some degree, maybe a big degree, the ability to, or the potential to thrive in your career in later life comes down to, quite often, the ability that you have to convince others of your idea, to convey your ideas, to get your message across. And as Professor Pilarski and Greg Huss has just said, so much of what we will take in as sensory input in the future is made up of moving and still images and what we hear. So, combining a passion for what your major is in, and I would wish everyone be passionate about their major, with a minor such as these is a powerful tool to help train you in getting your message across, putting across your ideas in a compelling way.
That is correct. Go ahead.
I wanted to add something too. What's wonderful about these new minors is that you have a lot of choices. You can really structure as your interests grow from semester to semester, as you encounter new materials, new ideas in all of your coursework, you can continue to structure your minors as you move along. And so maybe you're going to start thinking, oh, I'm going to do darkroom photography, but then you find out, oh, I really want to delve some more into the digital. Maybe I want to add some video into that as well. So you'll have choices with these minors. And that allows you to shape your vision as it emerges.
Fantastic. We had another question come in, and I think if one person's thinking this, there might be other people, so we'll put it out there just for clarification. And the question was, is the 2020-2021 school year, is that the first year that these minors are being offered?
Yes, it is. We have current students. We're really excited. We're launching it this fall. You'll see it appear in the catalog this summer on Carthage's catalog. And then current students at Carthage can also sign up for this, as well as incoming students. So we hope that you will consider doing that.
And there is information on the minors on the website now at this time if anybody wants to view that. Or if you're not sure where to find that, just email any one of us and we can send you the link as well. So, all right. Well, with that, I don't see any other questions coming in. But if anybody thinks of any a little bit later on, feel free to contact any of us. We are all on the website. You can find our contact information on there. Usually our picture as well. Please don't laugh at my picture. But it's all good. My contact information is on there. For people attending, I hope you enjoyed the presentations. I hope it was informative, and I hope you got a sense of just how passionate the professors here at Carthage are. They will know your name. You're not an ID number to them. And they do, I always tell my students, when you do know where you want to go in life, let your professors know. I see so often where professors help students achieve their goals, open up doors for them. Every student has a different definition of what success means to them, and our professors are fantastic at helping students achieve those. And we do it through experiential learning and the hands-on learning, as you saw today. And the real goal is, and somebody brought it up earlier, is to give you the experiences that are gonna make you marketable in the careers and the goals that you want to achieve. And that often does happen. I hear it from employers all the time, how marketable our students are when they leave Carthage because of all these experiences. So thank you, professors, for all you do. We truly appreciate it. Attendees, if you're interested in applying to Carthage, if you're a junior, you can do that coming up here, usually by June. So as soon as your junior year is over and your grades are posted, you can start filling out the application right on our website. And if you're a senior, hopefully you've already applied and been admitted. I know there's a few on there that have been already, so that's awesome. And we hope to see you at Carthage next year. But do come out and visit if you haven't visited the campus yet. When the campus reopens, we're hoping to start tours again in June. So keep an eye out for that. And like we said, you can reach out through the website. Our contact information is our contact us at any time. Thanks again, everybody. Stay healthy, stay safe. Hope to see you all real soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye again, Maddie.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.